Hi, welcome to the Let's Get Blunt podcast where we roll up something sweet and pull up a seat and get blunt about our healing. Today's guest we have Shaina, which I will let you introduce yourself after this. We're going to talk about our sponsor as always, as it stands right now. Our sponsor is Golden Earth Botanics, which is an alternative dispensary that focuses on healing through terpenes and hemp-based products. Like lately, it's been my balance tincture that's been saving my life. It's for feminine wellness, and I've been having some menopausal type symptoms, so I'm attempting to see if it works with that. I will let you guys know. I might have to. I feel like I gotta alter the chemistry a little bit for the to make it more menopause helpful, but this helps with like endometriosis and all those other things, so we shall see. Shaina,
Oh, hello.
introduce yourself.
I am Shaina. I am, first and foremost, I guess, a mother of four. I am also a healer and coach. And basically, my life has had several turning of events, and I am reemerging out of the most recent one.
Okay, then that makes sense. That the first question that comes to my mind that Spirit wants me to ask is, what would you do if nothing else mattered? Like all the, but I need to do this, but I need to be here for that, blah, blah, blah. What would you do if none of that mattered?
I would just travel. I would just travel and see the world.
And see the world.
Mm,
How can we make that part of your now?
that's a great question. That's a really great question. That is what I don't want to say figuring out,
Mm-hmm.
but what I am
So I guess I'm gonna say, what's stopping you? What do you
stopping me.
what do you believe is stopping you?
Well, so I believe what's stopping me right now is the fact that I am about to go through divorce and I have four kids
Mm-hmm.
and we are uh, basically a two-country based family. So figuring out the logistics of that when me and my husband are having troubles like actually talking about the logistics is
Mm-hmm.
kind of what's stopping me in a moment. And of course, money.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was a stay-at-home mom basically the entire part of our relationship. I taught dance here and there. I was coaching and healing here and there, but it was never something that I had to lean on. Um, and then I hit a depression, downward spiral, and I just basically dipped out of like the whole space for about 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm getting back in, learning to be independent, not codependent, everything at the same time.
Okay. So your magic wand moment, what would your life look like?
I would be somewhere warm
Mm-hmm.
with my kids, maybe traveling every 3 to 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
um, where they would be like in immersion schools,
Mm-hmm.
local, they can learn the local language, things like that. And like basically just unschool in a way.
Do you believe you could do it?
Yeah, yeah, definitely do.
Do you believe it has to look a certain way?
No, There, I think right now, what I believe is that all of the income has to come through me
Mm-hmm.
versus letting whatever come support that.
Are you scared of doing it alone? At any point, have you ever had to do it alone with your children?
Yeah, and I don't like it.
So it's a little triggering in this moment because you feel like you're regressing.
I don't feel like I'm regressing. I feel like
Okay.
I feel like I'm progressing. I feel that when I get to that point of, okay, now it's time for us to travel around the world and stuff, I will have somebody with me at all times. I will hire somebody. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
like, I will literally pay someone to just travel with me and be like second mom or babysitter or whatever to my kids. So that's why I, that's what's slowing me is
Okay.
because I know that the expenses are big when you have four kids.
Four kids.
It's not
So,
just one that I want to travel around with, you
all
know?
right. What I'm hearing, what I'm hearing Spirit say is, isn't it just left? 1 second, guys, I'm loaded right now. So let me see, because I had it and then it left. Okay, here it is. What is that truth that you keep evading? I feel like you're walking up to the point and like then like going around it. Um Now this may be something that you don't want to discuss openly, and that might be the reason, but I feel like it's just like there's something that wants to be said and then you're like, and like we're not gonna go there. Do you know what that is?
Maybe I'm not consciously aware.
Maybe. Because I feel like there is this desire not to repeat something again. And then that is driving a lot of how you're navigating, but then it's creating almost having the adverse effects of what you think it is. So you're moving in a way to avoid a pattern, yet the pattern is reemerging anyway. Does that make sense?
Well, I don't want to be dependent on anybody.
Okay. And you were. Is that what you're coming out of?
Yeah, so I've healed myself through the depression. I believe I've healed myself through the codependency.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I'm 37 years old and I never lived alone,
Okay.
you know?
And you think that you have to? Like, why is it a
I've
bad
never,
thing?
I've
Like,
never,
why is that a bad thing for you?
well, I've never provided for myself without assistance
Again, why is that a bad thing for you? There are a lot of people out here that has not provided. Like that's why we have gold diggers. That's why we have sugar babies. That's why, like, there are a lot of people out here that haven't provided. Why is that an issue for you that you have not been, that you're not the provider?
because I guess I believe that that's the only way I'm going to get out of this situation.
To have someone else?
No, to like move out of my house and complete the divorce is to be able to
Mhm.
be stable.
What's coming up is that there are just people that are better coupled, right? I think it is only bad when one of the parties don't understand what's going on. if both individuals in the party understand the dynamic in their role within it, nothing is wrong without it. Um, you have yourself in a position where maybe you just feel a little helpless when other people are in control because they have controlled you in those situations. Um, and so it's not that you don't want to be dependent, it's that you don't want to be controlled.
Yes.
Um, and while generally, um, the person with the finances tend to manipulate and all that, but that's when the power dynamics again aren't on the same wavelength, right? If you had a partner that knew this is my role for this family and my wife does what she does, but I equally honor her contribution, would you feel the same way?
No, I truly believe that um having like a partner in that divine masculine role will provide for me.
Because I recognize that earlier you stated that you don't like doing it alone.
No.
But also you're saying I want to be independent. Right? And so that's where there's going to be some
that contradiction.
Yeah, because it's just like in your mind, independence also means not being with a partner. So, but you're like, I don't even like to do it alone. So there's going to be that. This is where spirit was like, the input that you're putting in is going to give you the opposite of what you say you want. So we move in the energy of, I don't want to be dependent on anybody. I want to be independent. I want to do it alone. That's what we're going to get out of it. But then when you're doing it alone, you're going to have this feeling of, I don't want to do this by myself. This fucking sucks, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, which there's no judgment. It does fucking suck to do it by yourself. Like it does. Like, you know, so I understand that having to be it all.
I know you understand.
You know, I definitely understand that having to stand in the gap and having no one to turn to, right? So there are ways to give you exactly what you want, even if that is not being partnered, right? You can have support without being partnered if that is truly what you want. But it is recognizing that that's what you desire. And I will say there is nothing wrong with desiring to be partnered. We are pack animals. Like that's like people need.
I don't desire to be a single mom. I never did. I never wanted to.
Yeah.
What I truly desire in this moment is to be able to support myself out of this situation.
I would say, looking at the situation. Go ahead.
I know, honestly, it's funny. I know that my new partner is coming soon.
Uh-huh.
But also, how can I support myself? Because I can't like start dating and living in the same house as my current husband like that, and he's like feeding me, you know, like
right. Understood. So what you do in the meantime is just start pouring into yourself,
which I've been doing.
Yeah, start pouring into yourself, figuring out what makes you happy, making yourself whole, designing the life that you say you want to desire, visualizing the life that you say you desire, visualizing being supported in that lifestyle, right? because what I have found is that sometimes we have our way we think is going to happen or the way that we desire it to happen. And then God shows up and it shows up some weirdly, oddly different fucking way, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going to happen with this situation. And in this, the one thing that you are going to have to do is open up and be vulnerable again. Because while you heal, you closed off, which is fine, because that's how we heal. We go inward and we kind of like don't imagine anything other than what's going on in here, and we heal and we work on that, but we can't remain in that.
Yeah.
The true healing is when we come out of it and how we navigate after that point. So I think that is, you're at that point where you're having to be seen again. And that is very triggering for you, because you don't feel like you're at a point to be seen. Like, I don't have all my shit together. Please don't look this way. Kind of like
when it comes to like a partner, yeah. As far as other situations, not necessarily. I'm being actually way more seen than I was before.
Well, are you vulnerable in it?
Yeah. Yeah, I talk about it. I don't necessarily speak with my husband because
Yeah. No. So I think what I'm seeing or what I'm feeling is, because Spirit is asking, is this is how they're phrasing the question. Are you true to yourself when you show up in every space? Or are there still parts of yourself that you are pushing down, that you are like pushing to the background in an effort to just keep things stable? Because you don't want, like, I have a lot of other shit going on. I don't need any other shit. So let me just don't rock the boat, kind of.
there may be parts that I'm not exploring in ways I could. Like going back to dance, it just keeps coming up, you know?
Yeah, I think I've mentioned that to you. Maybe. It was somebody. I read for so many people. That's crazy. I do. And sometimes it's an actual reading and sometimes it's like a comment online. Right. But there is a deja vu here. So I think we might have talked about that, going back to dance and you showing up in that. Why haven't that? What's stopping you from going back to it?
I don't know.
Time, space.
Because what does that look like? I don't know what it looks like or where it leads me. Or
what do you want it to look like?
I want it to be free. I don't want it to feel confined. I don't want anything to feel confined. I want to be free.
I think you may be falling into the conundrum that a lot of us business owners fall into, is if we can't systemize it, if we can't strategize it, if we can't lay it all in a line and kind of see all the steps before we move, we refuse to move. And then we take a business approach to our personal life and joy, and it doesn't always fit. And so then we kind of sit until we have all the pieces. But unfortunately, when it comes to our personal life, we never have all the pieces. And so we just sit waiting for something to happen that we don't even know what we're waiting for to happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but like when dance has been my income my whole life, besides when my mom was paying for me to do it, 20 years, how do I not look at it like that anymore?
You can just dance.
I know. And that's why I don't know what's stopping me from just dancing over there, like where I have space.
It's our desire for it to look a certain way, for our desire to have it all. And I can tell you that was what was going to stop this, right? Because in my mind, I want a call-in show. I want to, I want a couch on the stage. I want this in the background. I want all these plants, and I want the works, and I want help, and I want somebody running all the shit, and I just get to show up and be great and go the fuck home, and they handle all the other. But unfortunately, if I wait till I have it, I'll never get to that point because all that requires everything else that I'm doing right here, right? Like I can do all that and still only have 10 views. Like, like you can do all that and it still not get you to where you desire. And like, I'm a perfectionist. So it's just like, this is what I want it to look like. But in that, I follow people whose video footage is like grainy as fuck. And I follow them not because they have the aesthetic, not because everything is beautiful, but because I like whatever they're saying, whatever they're doing in the content of it. Right? I think we get too wrapped up in the packaging of our gifting that we would negate our fucking gifting. Like our gift is going to be our gift, whether it's wrapped up in a paper bag or wrapped up in all the strings. But we're losing our steam when we focus all the energy on the adornments, because then we have nothing left to actually show up in the gift. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to do the opposite and show up in the gift. And then add the adornments as the space provides. As you get more followers, as you, because like literally nothing's stopping you. You know, you have Wi-Fi. We're talking right now. You have a phone. We're doing that right now. You know, like literally our world can be whatever we desire it to be, but we got to show up in it first. Because sometimes the next step doesn't come until you start, especially when you're building something you've never built before. Mm-hmm. You're not going to know all the questions to ask. So we're waiting again for answers to questions we don't even know to ask. You know? And so then we'll be like here for a year and be like, why is life so stagnant? And it's literally because we're just sitting and waiting for a sign to do what we desire to do anyway. Like the sign is your desire to do it. That's the sign. And it can work and it cannot work out. But the beauty of it is, even if it doesn't, there's always a pivot. Because you can, like, who's stopping you? Like nothing's stopping you, right? There's always a pivot. And that doesn't necessarily mean anything bad. right now I am culminating things that I've done over the course of 10 years. They're all like being smushed together into one thing. So I wouldn't be able to get to where I am if I've never done all the other 80 fucking things up underneath of it, right? Stop judging yourself on the process. It's about the process to get there. So you can just dance. And I understand that money is a major issue. I'm telling you now, money ain't your issue. Okay. You think it is because it's like right in front of your face. And you're like, but how? There it's working out in your favor. That's like,
I know, and I keep hearing that, but they ain't showing me shit.
because it ain't the time. Because you know what this is why
we're in daycare next week. Like
when it comes time to sign the papers, you'll have more than enough, is what I hear. So stop wasting the energy on trying to figure out how you're going to survive and put all your energy into what it looks like what your day-to-day looks like, should you have the foundation that you need, because you will. Because in the end, we can worry about money, but there's going to become a point where you're going to have to live the life separate. And we don't want the first time that you're thinking about what that looks like to be the day it happens. Because then you're behind the 8 ball, right? So now that you're now being supported, we might not look like how it looks, right? But you are being supported. Take this time to figure out what it looks like for you, how you want to show up, how you want to live your life, and how you can navigate all that. Because, like, literally, you can move to somewhere warm. I know. That has a lower cost of living.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, it doesn't have to be stateside. It does, you know what I'm saying? Like,
really, like that's, I mean, I've already had the experience of living overseas. So it's already a belief of mine that you can just move where.
That's a you question, though. Where is a you question? Right? God, spirit, universe isn't going to control that. It is, where do you see yourself? So God is asking, how can I support you? Right? And you're like, everything. And they're just like, well, I understand, but what does that look like? What does my support look like to you? What are your needs? And where do I need to focus my energy? So if you're like, I want to be somewhere warm, okay, where? What does it look like? If it's Costa Rica, like I want to be in Costa Rica. If it's Guatemala, I want to go to Guatemala, and this is what the monthly income that I need to feel stable. Is like, really map out your needs, because it's one thing to say I need money, and there's another thing to say I need money. This is my plan with it. Because without the plan, we're always going to need more money, because we'll be doing shit on the fly, right? With no standard, no way forward. So write it out.
I heard that.
Get it.
I was like, fuck, that means I have to write out everything right now.
Yeah. out so you could get it. I don't know if have you taken the manifestation archetype test that I had before? Do you know what your archetype was if you've taken it?
At previous times, I was Oracle.
Okay. Yeah, so write it out. Like you're literally the writing manifestation archetype. And they are very root chakra centric, so it makes sense that you're focused on money right now. But I will say,
What I just realized, and
what's that?
that's the disconnect. Because instead of writing shit, I was typing shit.
Oh yeah, no, no, man. I
Because like when I'm typing, I'm like,
energy doesn't translate.
it's not translating.
It doesn't translate.
Really, all this time I've been typing like instead of writing.
And see, I am gonna send you the Oracle handbook, right? I am gonna send you the Oracle handbook because it literally shows you how to show up as an Oracle.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I'm stuck, this is what you need to do. Open up this is what I need to do. How to balance myself, this is what I need to do. Like it's a handbook. So I'm gonna give that to you when we get offline. Because I am now working on making it an entire like workbook. And so people be able to like literally manifest their things. Like it's going to be an annual undated calendar where they could follow along in a program week by week, right?
Cool.
So I am trying to do that, and that'll be out. So I will send you the Oracle version of it. What else? You have questions for me? Spirit says you has questions for me. Like it don't have to be about you. It could just be questions for me, right? Like Spirit says you have.
What I was about to say is like I love how you've grown.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, it's really beautiful. I'm not sure if I have. I mean, I had a question, but that's gone. That was a while ago.
So, like,
what I mean by that.
But honestly, I've been where you are, right? That whole what does life without them look like? You know? Even though for me, we're just separated, we're still like doing all the things, right? Together. But that fear, and then if this is someone that you truly loved, which I'm assuming that it was, it's that soul detachment that happens. It's a deep level, like
It's still
yeah. Like I can tell you that when my husband moved out, it literally felt like the undoing of Velcro but it was painful as fuck. It was gut wrenching. And honestly, it's our anniversary today. Like legit, today's our anniversary. And I forgot to text him a happy anniversary because we still like do that. But honestly, it tore me to pieces. And then it's just like you don't feel whole in that moment, even though you are, right? Because you got accustomed to this like extra piece on your back, right? So what I'm seeing is when I'm going for a ruck march, we might load 50 pounds on our back, right? I am whole when I don't have the backpack on. So I'm not saying that your husband completed you or nothing, because I don't think that's the issue. I see you whole, but you got accustomed to the additional weight.
Yeah.
And so now that it's not on, you're walking around and it just shit just don't feel right. Like
yeah, like that, and also
fucking off.
Yeah, so it's that. And I also am no longer a friend with somebody that I was really deeply friends with. The same time frame. So I'm navigating not needing them.
Yeah. But it also feels, but you also feel like you're flapping in the wind because you don't have an anchor. And if your relationship and your friendship are ending at the same time, that other person was your anchor. Like, so I lost both my anchors. So now it's just like, and that's why I asked, are you okay being seen? Because that creates a shrinking effect because it's just like I feel so like left in the wind.
Mm-hmm.
So I am going to hide. We don't do this consciously. A lot of times we do it subconsciously to try to limit any further disagreement within our body. Like, let me just stay in my place, in my little hole. And if I don't go anywhere, if I don't do anything, I can't trigger anybody. They can't trigger me. And I can deal with what the fuck is in front of me. But in that, we stay exactly where we are.
I think there's some truth to that. I
Mm-hmm.
also believe that I'm not staying.
No.
That makes sense. I feel what you're saying is true, and maybe that's what's slowing me.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that
So when I say staying where you are, I don't mean like moving, not moving,
yeah.
right? Or not doing what you're doing, but energetically you are just closing off. So then there's no additional connections being made. Um, they're like it's closing off energy. The energy that you're expelling is kind of feeling trapped. That leads to the feeling of it feels like the walls are closing in on you, kind of. Um, Expel whatever fucking energy. Let it let it go.
Yeah.
Let it
I'm
go,
doing,
let it
I'm
flow.
doing lots of daily work.
Yeah, like relax, relate, release. Like
Yeah,
that's what it
like meditation. I
feels
learned new modalities working in the quantum, like taking these feelings that I have, playing with them in the quantum and letting them release. Like I'm doing shit every fucking day, you know?
like. And continue to.
Yeah.
It may not look like growth, but I'm gonna tell you sometimes it doesn't look like growth until it looks like growth.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Keep keep being led, keep showing up for yourself in like one step again, because you are now navigating something one you never planned for, something two you don't even desire. So like three it's hard to let me see, it's hard to navigate a space that bitch I ain't asked for this. You know what I'm saying? But here I am anyway, having to show up in it. So how do I show up in something that I didn't even fucking ask for? Like if I had a like I wouldn't be fucking here, but here we are, right? And then the three is how do I make the best of this since we're here, right? And and all that is a day-to-day choice. And some days you're gonna feel like I'm knocking this shit out the park, and then some days you're gonna feel like what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Uh, and just show up for yourself every day and recognize that that can change every day. Your 100% can change every day, right? Sometimes my 100% is just getting my daughter to and from school safely and making sure that she eats. Anything outside of that,
Girl.
I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? And so it's okay for your 100 shift because it will. And then there will be a time that you will be like, recognize that you don't have worries and yet the anxiety still sits. And that's another level of growth when you're like, I'm worried about not being worried about shit. Right. And so you're going to hit that point, I would say soon. And then that's another trigger because it's going to be like, what am I forgetting? Especially if you're always in an anxious state. When you're not, it's just like, it must be forgetting something. What bill hadn't I paid? What, all
Oh
those things.
yeah, I'm kind of there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've activated I mean, I've always been a chill person. And but there's definitely like, am I forgetting something today? Because I just
You just don't care anymore. Like, and you don't care because it's just, okay, I'm putting up all this energy in for what? Or
yeah.
I'm still here.
So
I still got to navigate this stupid shit. So let me just show up in it. And that is a level of submission that takes work and effort.
yeah.
The mantra that I used was, I am in the best possible place to craft and curate the life that I desire. Everything is working out for me, even when I don't see it.
Mm,
And like, I literally had to say it to myself and believe it because when shit would happen, I'd be like, hold the fuck up. How did you get that out of what I asked for? Right?
yeah.
Asked for harmony in my marriage and I get separated. Like, what?
Mhm.
It's just like, but is your marriage harmonious? And it's like, well, yeah, it is rather like we're really good friends. Yeah, like you tricked me though.
Well,
But
that's an interesting take. Yeah.
I got what I asked for. I got the friend that I asked for. Um and it'll shift. You gotta allow it to. I found out that I don't fight myself anymore.
hmm
I try not to. I don't consciously do it, but sometimes I still do it because when you fight yourself, you always lose. Like, so it's like, is it really worth the effort and the energy? If in the end, in one way or another, I'm going to lose. So let's see where the lazy river is taking us instead. Like, we're fighting up the stream to get back to some point that we didn't even fucking enjoy, but we were comfortable in. And all because we think the lazy river is going to take us over the cliff. Like, that is Niagara Falls. Like, we're seeing the lazy river as Niagara Falls and we want off this motherfucking thing.
Yeah.
But in reality, that's just it's not a cliff, right? That's just the horizon. And the horizon can be a million and one infinite fucking possibilities that we can curate, shape, and shift. You get to shift direction because the energy is moving. You're going to be moving. It's so you get to either shift the direction, you get to fight against the movement, but it's all choice. But you're going to be okay. And I do see you moving in about 3 to 4 months. And then 6 months feel like a finality. So I'm not sure if there's a temporary move in 3 to 4 months.
Well, we may or may not be going back to Serbia in a month because we
Okay.
have tickets. But if money's not showing up, we won't be able to buy tickets coming back. So
Mm.
that's the thing.
Do you want to take the trip to Serbia?
Yes and no. The closer it gets, the more like no I'm feeling. But there's uh the whole reason that I want to go is that I started my process of getting my passport
Okay.
there. And this is basically, if I'm going now, this is like the last thing I need to do.
And the no is money, or is the no something else?
The no feels like maybe I could enjoy myself here, being at the beach. I live in Urban Beach.
So then it becomes, which one do you desire more?
Yeah.
Like, just because you started the process doesn't mean you got to finish it if that's no longer what you desire. Um, it can be like,
Desire that. But again, maybe I need to do some research because like I think like if I want to move to let's say Portugal,
hmm
will having a Serbian passport be better for me because my kids have Serbian passports?
hmm
Or does it not even matter?
and that'd be something to figure out. Because if that is the deciding factor, then we need to know whether or not that's even an issue or not.
Yeah.
And then if it is an issue, we mitigate it. And if it's not an issue, then we can go on and keep moving and do what you want to do. Right. So if it is, if it will make it easier for you, then we go and we do what we got to do. And spirit, and you decide that's what you want to do, and spirit will provide the money for your return tickets or a way for you to get back.
Mm-hmm.
And if not, then don't go and enjoy yourself at home. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We first have to figure out if the thing that's you're creating as an issue to see if that's even an issue,
Yeah.
or does it not matter too much?
That's good. Yeah. That's something
Yeah. So Portugal seems like where you're thinking to move to.
Portugal or Spain, like on the sea. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Europe. I like the style